Okay, Mr. Hickman. So first of all, tell us a little bit.
First of all, call me Pat.
Call you Pat. It's hard for me to do. Okay. So Pat, tell us a little bit about your background, your job title here. What do you do at Happy State Bank? Just give us some of your backstory.
Born and reared in Canyon, Texas, on a little small dairy outside of town. My mom and dad were very middle class, hardworking folks. Grew up there, went to school at Tech, spent a little time at WT as well, and fell into the banking business. Never in my life thought I would be a banker. Got into it on a fluke and loved it. I was helping people. You help people achieve their dreams, a business, a new home, a new car, a college education. I mean, all those things. In the book Good to Great, the author one time said that people are most satisfied in careers where they believe they're making a difference. And in banking, I very definitely had that feeling and very gratifying. At 37 years old, was cocky enough, I guess, to say that I thought I could run a bank and heard the little bank in Happy, Texas was for sale. And I had no money. I was not raised with wealth of any kind, and my wife and I were expecting our fourth child. And in 1989, nobody was buying Texas banks. Texas banks were failing left and right. And I thought I could still do it. And I went out in the community and I found 10 investors, 10 mostly customers that had been my customers over the years that were successful. And each one of them put up $100,000 and helped me buy that bank. And for the past 31 years, I've been running that bank, and here just 6 months ago, I turned the CEO role over to Michael Williamson. I'm now chairman of the board, and I'm doing more of the stuff I want to do today. But you know, the last 31 years have been phenomenal. When we bought the bank, it was a little $10 million bank with 6 employees. And there were 880 banks in Texas, and we were number 812. There were only 60 or 70-ish banks that were smaller than ours. Today, there's about 500 banks in the state, and we're number 19. Wow. So we've passed all those other ones, and you know, we had one bank opened a second office in Canyon. And today we're in 41 different communities with 57 branches, and it was a $10 million bank. Today it's $5.5 billion, and with 950 something employees. And so it's been I love it. I'm the most blessed man in the world. At our stockholder meeting every year I have stood up at the end of it, and I've looked at the audience and said, thank you for helping make my dream come true. You are looking at the poster child of the American dream, and I truly am that.
Isn't God good?
Yes, He is good.
So, that was awesome. So, tell me, what was the first job you had? Remember, you're talking to middle school and high school students.
Sure. I can honestly tell you I have never been without a job since I was 12 years old. My first job was Monday through Friday. I swept out the Canyon cleaners. It was little dry cleaners down in Canyon, and I swept the floor for 50 cents an hour Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays I would sweep and mop. And you know, I'd make $5 or $6 a week, which was back then that was a lot of money. From there I worked at a souvenir shop, selling souvenirs where the big cowboy is today.
Yes.
That's still there. There was a souvenir stand there, and so I lived right there. I worked right there. When I got into high school, I actually held 2 jobs every summer. I would work at the Musical Drama Texas at nighttime, but I'd have a day job as well, and help put myself through college, and all that. Just so, but I'm kind of proud of the fact that I've never been unemployed since I was 12 years old.
So a strong work ethic is
Yes,
really
very. Yeah,
important.
my dad taught me to work, and my mom they were both hard workers, and I think I passed that on to my children as well.
It's so important. That we preach that at my house quite a lot. So, how did you get your first job? Do you remember? Was it just a family friend, a neighbor? Did you interview? Did you?
My first job, my mom came home and said she was picking up some dry cleaning, and Mr. Williams, the owner of the dry cleaner, said, "Don't you have a son that's a teenager?" And she said, "Well, he's about to be." And she said he's 12 years old, and he said, "Well, we're looking for somebody that'd like to sweep out the store. Do you think he'd like to do so?" And she said, "Well, I'll ask and see." And she came home, and she didn't say, "I got you a job." She said, "You have to call Mr. Williams and apply for the job." And so I called the store and told him who I was. Well, he made me come in and do an interview. And at 12 years old, my mom took me up there, and she waited out in the car, while I was in there applying. And of course, he hired me on the spot. But yeah, that was kind of neat. A great life lesson.
Great experience.
Yes, very much so.
Do you have any takeaways from that first job? What stands out?
Your signature is on everything you do. Do it right, do it well, do it right, do it well the first time. When my two boys were growing up, they had a paper route, and in Canyon, we lived in Canyon, still live in Canyon, and they threw a paper route for the Canyon News. It was every Wednesday night and every Saturday night for the Thursday and or Sunday paper, and it was wonderful for me and them because I spent 45 minutes twice a week with my boys in the car while they were throwing the newspaper, and we talked and we visited, and I think they would both look at you today and say they were great, wonderful times. But it was one of those deals where when they threw the paper, if it didn't hit the porch, I'd stop the car, and they'd get out and go put the paper on the porch.
They were right.
Exactly. So, it's doing those things, because even I remember well, Mr. Williams, if I missed a spot when I was sweeping up, he would go back and say, "Okay, you need to get all this. Somebody could slip and fall on that there." So yeah, doing it well and doing it right the first time.
Awesome. Whatsoever the hands findeth to do it with all that might. So, what was your first job in the banking industry? Fast forward to, you said 37 is when you bought your first bank,
Yeah.
But did you work in banking before?
I just went through an employment agency and got a job. Got my first job working at one of my competitors. It's still here in Amarillo. And I worked 2 days, and I just met my girlfriend, who is now my wife. And just met her. And they called me in after the second day of work and said, "It's our policy that you can't have a mustache." And I had a mustache. And I didn't want to shave it. And more importantly, she didn't want me to shave it. So I quit that job. And a few weeks later, got a job working at a credit union here in Amarillo. And I was a teller. I got it, started on the ground floor as a teller. And in time, worked my way up through the ladder.
So you held lots of different positions in banking.
Oh yeah. I worked from the ground up. Banking is a great profession in that you still have on-the-job training, and you can learn how to be a banker. Now, you're going to be better off if you do go to college, if you get study accounting and study finance and do some of those things. It'll give you a leg up. But I never graduated from college. It's still a profession that you can get into and learn and learn on the job and advance however high you want to. Very much a people position. You need to feel very comfortable around people and love people. You need to have that if you're going to be a good banker, in my opinion.
And I know you have a lot of people that work for you that have worked their way up.
You know, we do. We have a lot, and the number one thing we have here is attitude. I am fanatical about attitude. We choose our attitude every day. We had a fellow that worked for us for many years who in high school was paralyzed from here down through a football accident. You know, he came to work every day with a giant smile on his face, and he was a joy to work for. And I remember looking at him and saying, okay, if this guy can do it, I can do it, and everybody else can too. We joke, it's not a joke, but we tell it as a joke, but it really is true. If you work at a happy bank, you kind of have to be happy. So we ask our employees to give us 364 happy days. We will allow you to have one crappy day. One crappy, 364 happy, and with pay. With pay. If you know you wake up in the morning and the dog is thrown up on the carpet and the baby's diaper's running over and the car won't start and it's just one of those days and you
get one.
Stay at home. Don't come here and bring us your bad attitude. Stay at home. Now we will if I see somebody that's kind of an old grouch, I'll go up to them and say, have you had your crappy day this year? Because you're kind of acting a little crappy here.
Take it.
I will. Get out of here. Go home with pay. But 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, they're having another one. I'll go, no.
Find your smile.
You've had your crappy day. You only get one. Bring the smile back. Bring the smile. We really do fire more people because of attitude than we do competence. Nobody wants to work with an old grouch. Nobody wants to work with somebody that's mean.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to work with somebody that doesn't smile. You like to hang around people that smile. You like to hang around people that have a great attitude, that make you feel good. Well, we want customers to come in. Customers want to go where people are happy.
That's right.
So it's good business. It's not just a good attitude kind of, mamby-pamby deal. No, that's good business. If you don't have a good attitude, get out of here. We go to work somewhere else where they let people have a bad attitude. That's wonderful. And there's a lot of places that do. I don't get it. I don't shop there.
I don't either. So when I teach my classes and I tell my kids, I shop more for customer service than I do product.
Absolutely.
I'll give you several chances if your food is bad or if your customer service is good. So I agree with you. And this morning we interviewed Andy Marshall over at First Bank Southwest, first route out of the box, and that was his number one takeaway. And he said almost exactly what you said about it's attitude over competence sometimes.
Absolutely.
So that seems to be a theme. So I hope that our students
I think they've learned well
that.
from watching us.
Yes. He's very joyful. You're very joyful. I tell my kids, find joy. You can find joy in any circumstance. You might have to look harder sometimes, but it's there.
That's right.
So, okay, take us through a little bit of what your typical workday looks like. I know it's kind of changed.
Oh gosh, that's impossible. The thing that I love about banking, even when I was a loan officer, it is you never know what's walking through the door.
Changes.
This guy may want to finance a farm. This guy wants to buy a house. This guy wants to buy a new car, finance his business. You never knew day to day what was going on. And when you're running a company, the same thing. That's one of the things that I've loved about my career and my job is I don't know what I'm going to do that day. I know there are day to day things that have to happen, and you find competent, good people, strong skills to take care of those day-to-day things so that you don't have to worry about those. So there's always an accountability factor. But what my day looks like, I woke up this morning and I've already been to Lubbock and taught a class there at banking school, and I'm going to be talking to an investor later on this afternoon about a rather large investment in our company. So. And here I am doing an interview. So it's across the board. I love what I do.
I love that. So, you answered it. What do you love about your work? And what's your least favorite? What's if you could take
Oh,
one piece of it out?
no question. When you have to fire somebody, and I really do believe that you need to fire people. God has a place for everybody. And if your work performance is bad, if your attitude is bad, if there are different things going on in your life that aren't working, you're not going to get a promotion. You're not going to get a pay raise. You're not fitting in here. And there's somewhere else that God has a better plan for you, and that's where you need to be, where you can get a promotion, where you do fit in better and you can grow there. So I feel very much it's my responsibility to, one, help you find that, but two, to be fair to the other people that work here who do have that great attitude every day, who do work hard and have those competencies. If I'm allowing somebody to come to work with a bad attitude, when everyone else around him is a great attitude, I'm not being fair to everyone else. But it's still, you're dealing with someone's life. And to have to look at somebody and say, I'm sorry, you don't fit in here. This isn't working. And we're going to ask you to leave. That's hard. That's hard. Any of those, even when someone comes in and applies for a loan and you can't make that loan for this reason or that reason, and you have to turn them down for a loan, that's sometimes very, very hard to do. Now, you don't want to make a loan to someone if you don't think they can pay it back, because it's not going to work out good for you or them.
Right.
So, you've got to be able to make the tough decisions. I've told my children the hardest trait to find when I'm looking for someone for a leadership role is someone who can be candid with someone else, be open, honest, not mean, not mean-spirited, but to say, Dana, you need to improve over in this arena. This is one arena that I don't know that you see. You're hard when you deal with people over here, or you're lazy over here, or whatever that is. You need to show more energy. To be able to say those things, not mean-spirited. With truth and love is what the Bible calls it.
Do all things in love.
To be able to do that, there are a lot of people that just can't be candid. And it hurts them, and it hurts the relationships. And the relationship won't grow if you don't have the ability to do that.
And you also have to be able to receive it.
Oh yeah,
That's a
pitching.
difficult place as well.
A whole lot of people can pitch. Not as many people can catch.
Yeah, constructive criticism.
Yep.
That I preach that and with my kids. I'm constructively criticizing you. I'm loving you by teaching you. We have those conversations at our dinner table. So, this one is one of my favorite questions. If you could give your 18-year-old self any piece of advice, if you could go back, what would you tell yourself? And our students are watching.
Wow. Mine has to do with my spiritual walk. I grew up going to church, but I didn't meet Jesus until I was 22. And I would focus more on my spiritual self over and above my mental or my physical self. The lessons that I've learned spiritually, the truths that I've learned as a Christian, obviously have helped me through running this company. It just helps you deal with life more and better. I would have a greater emphasis on my spiritual side. No question.
I agree. I agree. Um, so, I hear from employers pretty frequently, a lot actually, almost at every board meeting, what they would like to see junior achievement do with our youth. Our young people today get a really bad rap. They're a very unique generation with a lot of strengths and some weaknesses. So I get a lot of feedback, oh, maybe, we could tackle things from this direction, or, when we go into the classroom, maybe we should shift our message to this. If you could tell this generation one thing that you think they do really well, what would it be?
Wow.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's not that there's not something.
It's so different.
That's a wieldy question, and the life stage that I'm in right now, my grandkids are all little bitty, so I'm not running into a lot of 12 through 18-year-olds in my life right now.
Your millennials that are working for you. You have any of those?
Oh, sure, but I don't deal with them that much. Okay. I'm dealing with their supervisors with their supervisors, so I don't have that interaction there. I would say this. I think they are, from what I can tell, the one thing I can tell, they are very socially active. They are very active, caring in for the underprivileged, for people who are less fortunate. That you can see that there is a great concern. I get concerned though that it's very peripheral. It's not deep. It's not putting actions into those words and those thoughts. It's one thing to say that you care for the poor. It's one thing to say that you care for the hurting, for the homeless, for the downtrodden. It's another to put action.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Put your money where your mouth is, or your actions where your mouth is. It's not just talking the talk. You've got to walk the walk. But there's no question. The heart is right. They see that.
They're compassionate.
The heart needs to see action.
Absolutely. This morning in the car, Samuel and I were discussing masks. Sorry. And
mine's doing the same thing.
Trying to get it off. He made the comment that, and it so impressed me. He said, well, I think that it's our duty as the younger generation to take care of our older generation. And so he said, so for that, I will wear it all the time. And that spoke to his generation. I've heard that more than my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter has said almost the same words to me. And I would agree with you. I think they are a very compassionate group. So you pretty much covered both of those questions. What do you think they need to improve on?
I will say this. I think people don't put enough credence to what I call the soft skills, the things that you learn in kindergarten and Sunday school. To smile, to be nice, to laugh, to be kind to other people, to work hard. Those old-fashioned, if you will, basics. If you'll master those,
you can go so far.
You can go so far. But to be kind while you work hard, and being kind and not working hard enough because people watch and they will take your example. The number one thing every leader, you quote me here all day long, the number one thing every leader needs to learn is you're setting an example. That's whether your mom and dad are running a multi-billion-dollar company, The old do what I say, not what I do,
adage does not work.
does not work well. You've got to set the example in the things that you do every day. If I come into work with a bad attitude, if I come to this office and I'm treating people mean-spirited or unfairly, it's a license to kill to the other 940 employees in this company. I've got to come to work every day with a great attitude. You can work around people that will say, I've seen Pat mad, I've seen him crazy happy, I've seen him crazy upset, I've seen him show every emotion in the world. I've never seen him in a bad mood. You'll never see, I won't give you that pleasure, I won't give you that luxury. Those are soft skills though, learning. Now my wife can't say that, it's okay? My kids can't say that. My kids have seen me in a bad mood.
Our families where we let our hair down.
Family, it's a little bit different take. But those soft skills are important.
Absolutely. And they should carry over to our home. I tell my two daughters, their siblings, I'm like, would you treat your best friend that way? No.
Dana, my boys and girls have all been asked, is your dad, does he act the same way at home as he does out in public? And I know for a fact they say, yeah. What you see is what you get. That is our dad. Yeah.
That in itself will take you so far. Just what you see is what you get. It goes back to being candid.
That's right.
So, what's the biggest piece of advice or two that you would give a student watching this today? Just for a life?
Sure.
Just starting their journey as an employee. So 8th graders, 9th graders, all the way through high school will be watching this, and some of them are just starting a career, some of them are going to be interviewing, some of them already have jobs. So as an employee, what would you tell them as an employer attitude?
I would say it's a work hard, do it right the first time with a great attitude. Work hard, do it right, and have a great attitude while you're doing it. That there's no, especially when you're learning, there should be no job that you say to yourself, oh, well, I'm too good for that.
Oh, absolutely.
That you know, when I was president of the bank, first started out just brand new, we hadn't been open a week, a big old dog came in and did his business right in the middle of the right in front of the front door to the bank. And a couple of the tellers walked in and said, Pat, a dog pooped out here, would you? And I said, I'll get it. I'll take care of this. You can't let your customers, and somebody's got to. That you do what you have to do.
That's right.
You just do. When I walk in the bank in the mornings, I look for a piece of trash to pick up. Because I hope an employee is watching me and they'll see that example and they'll follow that example. That's working hard. It's not just turning it on once you clock in. It's an attitude that you have all the time. Work hard, do it right the first time, and smile while you're doing it. Have a great attitude. I mean, if you'll do those three things,
keys to success.
Yeah, I think so. You know, personally, you why are you doing it matters. Mine has a spiritual base. But Jesus changed my life, so I have that added piece in there. If you don't have that piece, I would wish you well in trying to find it, because it changed my life much for the better.
It's your moral compass. It's your personal compass.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mine as well. So, you're speaking to a pretty big audience today. This will go into 10 different ISDs in the Panhandle, several of which you guys sponsor to receive programs. What is the single, and I'm rehashing this, but it's my last question, so I'm going to ask it. What's the single most important piece of advice, one, that you would give to middle and high schoolers that are just starting their path into adulthood in this day and age?
You know, my greatest piece of advice would be, especially at that age, go to church and hang out with people that go to church. Some of the decisions that you make today at 12, 15, 18, 20 years old can have huge negative impact on you. You know, I don't have a tattoo. I'm not saying tattoos are bad. I'm saying a tattoo on if you get a tattoo on your face, you set yourself up for life.
There forever.
That there are certain jobs that you will not ever have. People are going to bring you money in this profession, trust you with their money, and and there are a lot of people that will not trust that person simply because they have a tattoo. Is that right? Is that wrong? I'm not going to judge that.
It just is.
But when I'm running a company, I've got to hire people that don't have issues that are going to turn customers away. If you're a grouch, I'm not going to hire you. If you have a tattoo on your face, I'm not going to hire you. That's one thing. But there's so many things, decisions that could be made in a fleeting moment that impact people negatively for the rest of their lives. My experience, go to church and hang out with people that do. Your friends, who you choose as your friends at this age can impact you so very much. You need people. I had friends, even though I was going to church, different. I didn't know my Savior, but I did have friends that a couple of times when I'm going, hey, let's go here, grab my car and said, no, that's not a good place to go. Don't go there. And they helped me and saved me there.
I pray for those friendships in my kids' life, and I pray that my kids will be that when their friends are.
You know what we prayed? My wife prayed it better than I did.
They'll get caught.
They get caught.
I pray that.
Yeah.
Young,
it worked.
Young, or at an early age.
Yeah.
To save them for later.
Yep.
Yes. Same parenting. We're doing a lot of the same things. Maybe they'll be great people. Oh, I thank you.
Did that help?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. So that pretty much concludes my questions. Do you have anything you want to add? Do you have anything that sticks out to you that I didn't cover?
Oh, there's probably 400. But nah. Good questions. They were good questions.
Okay.
The key now will be the editing.
And that is in Samuel's hands.